Well, hey there. My name is Dan Spencer. I'm a music teacher about to listen to the Blasto original soundtrack for the very first time. Now, I have never heard this music before in my life, so we're going to get rocking and rolling and just start this thing right away with the Blasto main theme. Here we go. Okay, so what's pretty interesting is that one of the motifs for Blasto, which is clearly all about stars and aliens and things, actually starts off like Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. Now, we do have a variation on it, so I'm actually going to take a moment and write down some of these because these are likely going to come back up again a couple times. Okay, and then the main theme, we had motif. Right? It's like Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. Like 1 1 5 5 6 6 5 1. And then we hear a variation on that motif a little later on. Let's see if there's anything else I should catch while we're here. And right there. It's like a minor version of the Twinkle motif. So we would call that motif 1 minor. Sorry, let me bring this with me. Motif 1, I'm going to call it minor, or C, we're going to say minor, which is... Right, okay, so we have flat 6, flat 3, flat 6, 5, 1. Okay, cool. So what I'm loving is from the get-go, it's like themes and variations on Twinkle Twinkle Star, which, by the way, does have its own themes and variations. You go listen to Mozart wrote Twinkle Twinkle, which was "À vous dirai maman." I'm going to tell mom on you, basically. Mozart wrote, and there are tons of variations, but not quite like this. So this is sort of Twinkle Twinkle Mozart inspired, starting us off for the main theme. And indeed, we can hear we have motif one is don 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 don. Kind of like starts off twinkle, so then bum bum bum. Right, bum 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 bum. Right, and then bum 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 bum. All right, cool. Let's keep this thing going. Special shout out and thank you to Spectre First here in the chat who made this happen. Okay, let's keep this going with Blasto intro cinematic 1, Bosc the Terrible. Hang on a second. You know, Spectre First, who made this playlist, actually included some gameplay visuals, which I'd love to share with you. I think it would really spice up this stream. So give me one moment here, and I'm actually going to throw up the visuals on the stream as we go, because I feel like that would be a really nice addition to what's happening here. So just give me 1 second here. I'm just going to pop open a new window in OBS. Let's see. There we go. Okay, and I'm just going to crop this a little bit. Crop this a little bit. Everybody crop, 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 crop. Everybody crop, 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 crop. Everybody now crop, 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 crop. All right, we're going to pop this, I guess, here. And that's going to be an extra element on screen. Okay, this is exciting. All right, let's keep this going.
Devoted legions of terror, the time is finally upon us. Long have the humans sat fat and safe on their shiny blue planet, while we, the one true master race of the universe, banished to this hole they call the fifth dimension. Well,
anytime anyone says the phrase master race, you're in trouble.
Shut up! Using our pan-dimensional crossing machine, we will punch a hole through the space-time continuum. And through this glorious galactic gateway, my beautiful hordes will flow like a poison river, establishing a bridgehead on Uranus. Woe, I say! Woe to the fool who stands in our way! When the planet is ours, Earth will stand trembling beneath my shadow. No one will be able to save them. I will enslave their women, eat their children, and their cattle. Nothing will stop me from claiming my rightful place as the one true ruler of the universe. I, Bosc the Terrible, shall reign supreme!
Okay. Excellent. Thank you also for censoring that one, Spectre First. Okay, so a couple elements we had from these themes here, which, by the way, we go a little slow at the start. I'm going to write some things down, but once we get grooving, I'll just be pointing to things, and it'll be a little bit faster. Yeah, definitely everywhere we're hearing a 1, 2, flat 3. Do, do, do.
my devoted legions of terror. The time is finally upon us.
Okay, and then also we're hearing kind of like some umpa going So where's a Bosc is 1, 2, 3, and then umpa. Okay, let's keep this going with Cinematic 2, Captain Blasto.
Space Command Central, Captain Blasto. Space Command Central, Captain Blasto, over.
Blasto here.
You have an urgent message from Admiral Big Shot on your main viewer.
Urgent, huh? Put him through, Command Central.
Blasto, Uranus is in big trouble.
What did I do this time?
This is no time for jokes. It seems that evil alien tyrant Bosc is up to his old tricks again.
Bosc? I thought that pear-headed psychopath was banished to the 5th dimension.
He was, but now he's back, and he's mad. The very foundation of the free planetary system may be at stake. His forces are already massed for an invasion of the planet Uranus.
And you want me to take it back, eh?
Can you do it, Blasto?
Is a frog's butt watertight?
I knew we could count on you, Blasto. Good luck. And remember, Uranus is on the line.
So what else is new?
Okay. So what we have here is sort of a somewhat bombastic or triumphant version of our twinkle motif here. We have 1, 5 to flat 7, back to 5. So okay, so we're gonna, for right now, we're gonna call this Captain. So Captain, we have which would be 1, 5, flat 7, 5, and let's grab the chords that were in there. What's the first chord? Has it be flat on it? What could it be? E5 maybe? Yeah. And then at the end we have 4, 4, 2, 4, 4, 2, and under the 4, 4, 2 we have flat 7, 2, 5. So heroic. Now, we've talked about this before, but oftentimes when we see themes and we see these flats, so these flats look like B's. And what flat does is it basically brings notes a little bit lower. And so we can think about notes that are unchanged as being kind of like the good guys, or bland, or vanilla, or just pure, right? And then we can think about adding a flat to a note as making it kind of dark. So to borrow a metaphor from a separate universe, like the orcs in Middle Earth are really elves that were corrupted, right? They were flattened, if you will. Not only are they oftentimes shorter. I'm not talking about Urukai here. I'm talking about orcs. Groove with me, chat. Orcs are shorter, smaller, deformed, darker, right? Dark energy. They just want to destroy everything. So whenever we see flats, we're going to think, yeah, likely wanting to destroy things. And you can actually see in the minor motif that we had at the beginning, we had flat 6s, flat 3s, flat 6s. We can see in Bosc, we have a flat 3. Now, what's interesting about Captain here is this flat 7 doesn't really translate as bad when it's here. It actually translates more sort of as cool. which is an interesting little tidbit. That having that flat 7 there actually sounds more cool than it does bad. All right, let's keep this going with Uranian Spaceport 1. Ooh, interesting. Well, a lot of things going on in the Uranian spaceport. We heard lots of 1s to 5s in terms of the chords with pentatonic riffs in between. In addition to that, we heard many times from the Bosc, which is likely representing our enemies, with 1, 2, flat, 3, except here in the spaceport, we heard it go up to 4, which we also might have heard in Bosc, the introduction to Bosc as well. We also heard 1 to 7, and really playing around with the harmonic minor as fitting in with Bosc. So, in Bosc, we have 1, 2, flat, 3, sometimes going up to 4, umpa, and also thinking about harmonic minor. As we go through this, please feel free to ask questions about music and the soundtrack as we go, because, I'm not going to break absolutely everything down into its smallest possible component parts. We'd be here for days. But, yeah. Interesting stuff so far. Let's keep this rocking with Blasto, Episode 1, Invincibility. Okay, so in the Invincibility, we have some fourths. That's pretty interesting things in fourths. And we have a question from chat from, sorry, don't want to butcher your first name, who says, have you ever delved into Aphex Twin's discography? The quick answer is no, but I'll tell you, I was recently intrigued by Aphex Twin because we were talking about Nobuo Uematsu using trap hi-hat, hip-hop trap hi-hats in the 90s on Final Fantasy VI, and so I was like, actually, Aphex Twin did it a couple years earlier, so I certainly want to go check out someone who's such an original thinker and creator. Let's check out Spaceport 2. I love it. It's a shame I can't erase on this thing, but that's okay. Ah. So motif 1B showing up here in the base. Okay, so some interesting things going on here in Uranian Spaceport 2. We're hearing again the harmonic minor being used from Bosc. Now we're hearing a variation of Bosc's motif. So Bosc's motif was 1 2 flat 3. What we're hearing now is 1 flat 3 2, and then adding a note on, which is the flat 7. We also heard some minor 1 to 5s, some pentatonic riffs, just like Spaceport 1. That's tracking along relatively well. And then harmonic minor really again relating to Bosc, which seems to be, or the aliens we could say, not directly Bosc, but the bad aliens. We also heard right at the end, right? Yeah. And that's using the flat 6 and 5, which we could think about as pulling a little bit for maybe motif 1C, maybe. It's a little bit of a tenuous connection, but it is using the notes, and it is a soundtrack, so perhaps the tenuous connection is indeed both tenuous and accurate, but perhaps not. Let's check out Spaceport 2 Invincibility. So what we've been hearing in Invincibility is lots of 1s and flat 2s, which that's some actual Phrygian sounds going on there, if I'm not mistaken. Let me pull back one time. Make sure I got that right. Now, what's interesting is and fourths again. We heard fourths in the first Invincibility theme. The Invincibility plus fourths, the interval of a fourth. Perfect fourth. Let's keep this going with Uranian Spaceport 3 as we do. All right, hold on. So I think that was actually... that might have been part of Bosc's theme that we didn't... that might be a motif from Bosc's theme that we didn't get before. Right, so it starts at 1, 2, flat 3, and then goes 1, 2, flat 3, and then flat 6, 5, flat 6, 5, which actually is directly related to our minor up here, the flat 6, 5. Do do dee do do. All right, sorry, let's keep this going. Mode mixer here. Okay, so some interesting things going on with Spaceport 3. Number one, we have the 1-2 flat 3 from Bosc everywhere. Also, at the beginning, we had some interesting mode mixture where the flat 2 from Phrygian was thrown in there. Interestingly enough, there was a moment of it almost felt like major with a 1-3-4 flat 7, which I would actually tie back to the captain with that third and then that seventh. Because when we just have the flat 7, but there's no flat in front of the 3, that can feel cool. I just feel cool. And then yeah, we had 1-1-2-3, 1-2-3, 1-2-3, 1-7, flat 7, 1-2-3, 1-2-3, 1-2-3, 1-2-3, and so we can see it's just 1-2 flat 3 over and over again from Boss showing us that who we're fighting, why we're fighting. Well, maybe not why we're fighting, but indeed who we are fighting. And those would be the Aliens. Let's check out Spaceport 3 Tentacle thing. Just gonna flat through that. All right, there was one thing in there I want to go back and listen to. Which was yeah, you know, what key to think of that in? I'm not entirely sure. We're going to pretend like the first note's 1. I'm not sure. We might think about it as being an A minor, because then we go to the something approximating, it's not exactly, but something like a E7 sharp 9, something. There's the next chord to go to. Now, for this boss, we're going to think of this. 1, flat 2, 4. Sorry, flat 2, 4, 3, 1. 1, flat 2, 7. 7, 1. Something like that. And then the boss theme also had the do-do-dee-doo-da motif that we heard in Spaceport 3 showing up again in the boss fight. All right, let's see what Spaceport 3 Invincibility sounds like. So, again, interestingly enough, in the Invincibility here, not going back by, this is Invincibility 3, this is 2, we'll do Invincibility 3, if I can spell, Ability 3, it was going back and forth by whole step instead of half step. And using minor pentatonic, but a lot of 1, flat 7, both in chord and in melody. And again, you know, the fast speed, that fast tempo, making us feel like it is indeed an Invincibility theme. You know, that fast speed makes you feel like time's going to run out. Makes you hyper aware of the time, especially when you feel that change from the regular pace of the music. All right, let's check out Uranian Dunes. And as it is officially 9 a.m., I'm going to start eating breakfast. Here we go. So that was Uranian Dunes. We're actually going to jump back to the intro real quick. All right, so it starts off with some harmonic minor related to Bosc. Now, interestingly enough, this Bosc motif here of 1, 2, 3 is now gets developed and moved, so it's now flat 3, 4, 5, but it's still the same idea. It's 3 ascending notes in a minor, from what we can tell up to this point. Perhaps minor, perhaps natural minor. Perhaps this is implying really the harmonic minor with that 7 that's been the whole time. Maybe that 7's just coming in where it wants to. Hearing a 1 to 5, which we heard also in Spaceport 1. I believe we also heard in Spaceport 2. And that 1 to 5. But in this case, the harmonic minor is used in a way that feels sort of Middle Eastern-ish, esque, quasi, heading in that direction. I'd be very curious to see what happens with the Invincibility here, so let's go check that out. So much like in the boss fight for Spaceport 3, how we heard the motif of 1 2 flat 3 flat 6 5 showing up, if I'm not incorrect. Yes, I'm not incorrect. That in Spaceport 3 we heard this motif here show up in the boss fight in the same way. Here in Invincibility 4, we're actually hearing part of the Dunes motif, the flat 3 4 5, that then gets developed a little bit. It goes do 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 do. It goes flat 3 4 5 4 flat 3 1, and there you go. So the Invincibility 4 is actually taking pieces from the Dunes, so it would feel connected to it. Let's check out Uranian Caves. Okay, so some interesting things going on here in Caves. Excuse me, I might sneeze. So if I stop talking, go silent, and then there's the sound of an avalanche. It's because I sneezed. We have some... Woo, Lord have mercy. That thing is sitting right in my nose. Okay. 1, flat 6, 5, 1. Okay, where have we seen flat 6, 5, and 1? Oh, flat 6, 5, 1. Motif 1C. Sure enough, a lot of times when we hear in a main theme, we're going to hear a lot of the motifs that we're going to hear later on in the soundtrack, movie, film, opera, musical theater piece, whatever it may be. Flat 5, 6, 1, we have that here. Now, I think what's interesting is that we have some motivic development. While we did hear some 1, 2 flat 3s every once in a while, I believe it was in the bass, what is fascinating to talk about, I think, is the 1 flat 7, flat 6, 5. Because what we have here in Dunes, between flat 3, 4, and 5, there's a whole step between flat 3 and 4, and there's a whole step between 4 and 5. Similarly, there's a whole step between 1 and flat 7, and a whole step between flat 7 and flat 6. So in my mind, this 1 flat 7, flat 6 is actually a reversal, if you will, of the flat 3, 4, 5 motif, which is 2 whole steps ascending. Instead, this is 2 whole steps descending, and indeed with a half step in there as well, going down to 5, but really just pulling out pieces of a motif, because a motif is the smallest recognizable idea in music, and because, well, we can recognize 2 half steps as being an idea, we're going to qualify that, indeed, as, you guessed it, an idea. And also, composers love doing things like taking ideas and flipping them around backwards and sideways and upside down and stretching them and turning them into Laffy Taffy and making them into figure eights, and then also turning them to pineapples, and then sometimes even children's pineapples. But why is a child's pineapple different than adult's pineapple? I don't know, but there's Blasto, and Blasto's cool. So here we go. Whole step, whole step, whole step, whole step. Let's keep this going with a Babe Ritual. Well, not too much going on with Uranian Caves Babe ritual. It was more sort of, well, ritualistic, and so there were some pentatonic riff type things like we heard back in Spaceport 1, like we also heard in Spaceport 2, and I believe we might have also heard in Spaceport 3. So we're going to go ahead and say Caves. Where'd my orange pen go? All right, Cave Babe. The Cave Babe had some pentatonics. And now you all know the secret to my pickup line. I go into a bar and I say, "Hey babe, how are your pentatonics?" Hasn't worked yet, but you know what they say. If at first you don't succeed, try and try again. Let's check out Blasto episode 611, Uranian Depth Sewers. That is so Donkey Kong right there. That right there for the water. Well, some interesting things going on with Uranian Depths Sewers. First of all, some new chords. We're hearing 1 to flat 6, which I don't believe we've had before. Oh, no, we did have it before. Somewhere in here, we had a 1 to flat 6. I'm sorry, I don't remember exactly where. We had a 1 to 4, but this time we actually had a sharp 11 with it, which is pretty cool. We had the penta descending line. We had the 5 flat 6, 1 flat 7, 5 flat 6, 4 5. We had a 1 minor to a 7 major 7. This is really cool. These are like some house chords right here, man. They're like. That's some house music, man. That is right there. We had our 1s to flat 2s, sure enough. And then we had this one interesting motif that showed up both in a low instrument and a high instrument, which was something like. And we heard that twice, both low instruments and in high instruments. And then also that penta descending finger was. And a special shout out and a thank you to Jetstorm for your generous super chat. I will read the super chats at the end of L Stream today. Let's check out Alienville soundtrack. We need green for this. Ah. Ooh, tempo shift. All right. Well, what's going on in Alienville? In Alienville, we can hear a lot of motifs from the game so far. Not only do we hear 1, 2, flat 3, 4 from Bosc, but we hear 1, flat 6, 5 from motif 1C from the opening theme. And indeed, we also heard 1, flat 6, 5 in Dunes, in Caves 1. In addition to that, we hear 1, flat 7, flat 2, which we heard in Dunes 1 as well. So what we can see is as we're making our way deeper and deeper into this OST, these motifs are coming back around again and again and again, which lends the feeling of continuity without getting too boring. Because I always talk about this from songwriting, because I've written songs, I've published songs, co-written songs, co-produced songs. You don't really care about me, do you? But here's the point. When I write songs, I'm always thinking about balancing between too much repetition, because too much repetition is cheesy, and too little repetition is actually incoherent. It doesn't sound like anything. It doesn't feel like anything. And so what's happening here is bringing these motifs out and about through all of these different, well, themes and biomes and levels and places gives a feeling of coherence or a feeling of continuity in this entire OST. Now, that being said, I think what's interesting to think about is this is actually similar to an OST we visited recently, which was the Mass Effect trilogy. And in the Mass Effect trilogy, there was basically 7, 8, maybe 9 notes that made up every single motif. You can say, yeah, well, Dan, there's only 12 notes, so surely 9 notes. No, you mistake me. You mistake me, sir. Or madam, or person. Point is, we can think about something like Star Wars, right? Where we have distinct themes that represent different things. So we call those leitmotifs. Whereas here, sure, the music is changing in each place. But for example, the leitmotif of 1, 2, flat 3, 4 of Bosc is showing up everywhere because we're fighting basically one enemy. So I think that's an interesting thing to think about. You know, and I think what's interesting too is we haven't really heard too much from the captain's motif. We heard Captain back in Spaceport 3, maybe, but we haven't really heard anything from the captain's motif. Maybe I've missed it, but I haven't heard the captain's motif so far. Let's keep this thing going with Beware the Snarf, which, funny enough, it's kind of embarrassing, but I feel like I should tell this to you, is my backup pickup line after I say, hey babe, how are your pentatonics? If I don't get any response from that, I say, beware the Snarf, to which she says, are you threatening me? I will get my brother, to which I say, no, madam. Or sir, or person. Surely, you have me mistaken with someone else. Let's keep this going with Beware the Snarf. Okay, well, hang on. There was a lot of notes in that there motif we had. Yum dum dum. We'll call it sharp 4, 5, 5. Oh, sharp 4, 5, sharp 4, flat 3, 2, 1. And then yum bum 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 bum. And then it keeps going bum bum. Bum. Star 4, 5, 5. Flat 7, 1. Okay. Is this why you went to music school to stand up? Yeah, I went to music school because I'm not funny. I didn't go to stand up because I'm not funny. Like, there's people who are funny. Don't think I'm one of them. I can be funny, but that's different than being funny. Does that make sense? Okay. Like, I've slung some yucks in my days. Don't get me wrong. If you see me out on the town, look out, because I'm slinging yucks. Okay, so Snarf, interestingly enough, starts off 1, 2, flat 3. Just like Bosc. So my question for you, chat, is there a connection between the Snarf, what seems to be some type of boss, and Bosc, who also seems to be some type of boss? So could you please enlighten me? Is there a connection between Snarf and Bosc, or is Snarf just something that's standing in our way of the boss Bosc? The bossy boss Bosc. What do you mean, yuck yucks? When people laugh, they go, yuck, 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 yuck. Slinging yuck yucks. Pear heads, huh? But, sir, that's my wife. Hey, who's that pear head over there? But, sir, that's my wife. All right, well, it doesn't look like we had a confirmation yet. Round the Snarf Bosc connection. And our resident German humor expert Tri-Lighting says, it's not getting better, yeah. Guy brings out the tomatoes. Why? Is he hungry? Seems to be on a very healthy diet, eating many fruits a day. Because tomatoes technically are fruits, not vegetables. Okay, let's keep this thing going. Oh, Alien Bill Invincibility. This will be Invincibility 5. Let's see what it's got in store. Oh, I'm so sorry. I skipped one. Well, Funk Hut was rocking and rolling. This was our first piece, I believe, since Captain cutscene, where we actually had some major chords going on. So that was exciting. That truly was exciting. We had a 1, we had a 4. That was so cool. Let's keep it going with Invincibility. So I was hearing that as. Which would be a 1 to a 4. Fun cut was major 1 to major 4. This here is a minor 1 to a major 4, which gets us that sweet, sweet Dorian sound. Oh, it's time to pull out the red marker, I think. Because we're headed into, wait for it, a volcanic spire maze. My. And then we're going to head into Bosc Fortress. All right, this is cool. All right, here we go. Let's do this thing. Volcanic spire maze. I'm full back. Ow. Spaceport 3 right there. Spaceport 3. That's it. Bye. Spaceport 3, here we go, baby. Bosc here. Well, was. Ha! Back to doing 1 minor to flat 3 minor. Or major. Okay, while this volcanic spire maze wraps up its ambient sounds, what are the main chord progressions that underpinned volcanic maze was 1 minor to flat 3 minor. Do. Just add 1 to 2s. And 4s, as we're hearing here, going to C. Now, some interesting things is in volcanic spire death trap thing. We heard The 1 flat 2, 1 flat 7. This we heard all the way back in Dunes 1. So we heard a Dunes 1 motif showing up here. In addition to that, we heard Spaceport 3 motif showing up here. That was pretty cool too. We heard the 1 flat 7, flat 6 from the caves showing up here, which we were talking about how that's something we could consider somewhat related to our main Bosc motif here, in the sense that it's 2 whole steps. But in this case, descending instead of ascending. We also heard the 1 to flat 7 from Invincibility 3. Ooh, interesting. Which that flat 7 could represent Captain at this point. Because we heard the flat 7 Invincibility 3. We also heard the flat 7 chord and flat 7 note in Captain's motif. And then we had something new, which was 1, 1, 2, 3, flat 7. But that 1, 2, flat 3, that's really, in my mind, certainly related to the Bosc motif here. The 1, 2, flat 3. And that flat 7 is just thrown in for giggles. Over on Twitch, Noise Owl says, this kind of sounds similar to the soundscape of old school RuneScape. To which I responded, I played that game for hundreds of hours and cannot for the life of me remember a single note of the sound. And maybe that's because I was trying to hide the fact that I was playing old school RuneScape from my parents, so I wasn't playing with the sound on. You do what you gotta do. Okay, let's check out Volcanic Spire Maze Invincibility. So interestingly enough, Invincibility for Volcanic Spire, which is the, I believe, 6th Invincibility piece that we've heard, is actually pretty closely related to Invincibility 3 in the sense that it's 1 to flat 7. And indeed, I'm going to go ahead and extrapolate and say 1 minor, the flat 7, yeah, major. This case sounded like it had a sus4, perhaps an add 4 in there. Certainly a 4 going on. Let's get down to 4ness, or business, with Bosc's Fortress. My gosh, we're there. We're going to be coloring this red. I think we're going to put Fortress over here. So let's see. Here's the fortress. I know that doesn't actually look very much like a fortress, but you know what? It is. And my mommy told me I'm special. Okay, so let's do Bosc's Fortress soundtrack, and then we'll do the Invincibility, which is going to be cool. All right, so let's do this. Fortress. Yo, this OST is leveling up right now. Okie dokes. So let's talk about this here fortress. So this here fortress has some pretty interesting things. Number one, it has essentially what it is. It's the same motif as we heard in Spaceport. It's the same idea as we heard in Spaceport, but this time the 2 and the 3 are switched around. So instead of being 1, 2, flat 3, it's 1, 1, flat 3, 2, then 6, 5, which really we could see is coming from motif 1C, the minor that we heard in the main theme. Then we also heard the 1, 2, flat 3, 5, 6, which I think that's new for this. I don't think we've heard that before. We've heard 6, 5. Yeah, we haven't heard flat 6, 5, but there's 5 flat 6. And then we had a do 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 do. Sorry, do 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 do. Yeah, do 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 do. And that was basically a version of taking the do 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 that starts off Bosc, but switching it backwards. So do 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 do. Instead of do 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 do, it's do 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 do. You can also think of it as reversing this part of this motif up here. Instead of 1 1 3 2, it's 3 3 2 1. Then we had a different variation of that same motif, which do 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 do. Oh no, excuse me. I sang the second variation there, looking at the first variation. So the first variation was. Right, was the first one, and then the second, well, perhaps that's actually the second one when I heard the first one first. So what you need to know is that these two are related, because you can hear they sound the same. And then we heard just a little bit of some ones and some flat twos thrown in there. those flat twos. Great to let us know that we're in for some trouble. Please feel free to ask me questions about the OST. Please feel free to ask me questions relating to anything you hear going on as we rock and roll. I'm here to help you, not just talk at you. So if you have questions about something, please feel free to ask it. If you're to ask as I'm breaking something down, if you need further clarification. I don't have time to, it would take an hour or two to break absolutely everything down in terms of understanding what scales are. And so for that, quick word from our sponsor, Best Music Coach, the best music theory book for beginners. One, it has sold over 5,000 copies. It's in its 3rd edition. It's tremendous. It's helped thousands and thousands of people around the world understand more about their favorite music, also read music and write music. So if you want to write songs, you want to compose music, this is a phenomenal place to start. Tons of 5-star reviews on Amazon. You can go check it out. Again, that's the Best Music Theory book for beginners. 1 by Dan Spencer. That's me. Okay, let's keep this going with Bosc Fortress Invincibility. Ah, interesting. So I think what's interesting about this invincibility theme is even though we're invincible, it's actually featuring Bosc's motif. So even though we're invincible, to show that we are indeed in the fortress of Bosc, even the invincibility motif, which we would think would be all about us, but it's not, is actually foreshadowing, perhaps, or indicating. I just like to use the word foreshadowing. Foreshadowing is nice. The fight that is to come with Bosc, the big baddie. So that's really interesting because I don't think we've heard. I can't think of another sort of boss, any of the sort of mid-boss that we hit. I can't think of any of them that were in the invincibility. But then again, I've just been streaming for about 3 hours, so if I'm starting to miss something, please feel free to let me know in the chat. But yeah, that's pretty cool. So Invincibility is actually featuring Bosc's motif, which we can go ahead and call a leitmotif because it is relating to Bosc. Okay. Every time I say Bosc, I just think of the Star Wars character because that's who I like to play in Star Wars Battlefront 2. The new one, not the old one. I also like the old one on the PSP. Anyway, let's check out Alien Ruins soundtrack. Huh, major third in there. Double harmonic. Shout out and thank you to RoboStomp for providing some amazing value in the chat on YouTube. So, in these here alien ruins, we had some really interesting things going on. We had lots of things with flat 2. We had 1 flat 2, flat 7, which sure, we've heard things like that going all the way back to Dunes 1. We also heard 1 2 flat 3 with a flat 7. The 1 2 flat 3, of course, coming from Bosc, as we've seen throughout this OST. And then a variation on this 1 flat 2 flat 7 motif here, being 1 1 1 flat 2 flat 7 flat 2 back to 1. Really taking this idea again that we heard kind of sort of. To say it's connected to Dunes, I think, is a little tenuous. I'm not going to say that. I'm going to call this an Alien Ruins motif and say it was developed here. Interestingly, too, we also heard a double harmonic scale. A double harmonic scale is a wild sounding thing, which sounds like this. Sorry, sounds like this. Play it clean one time for you. So that was pretty cool to hear that. Now we have heard something approximating that double harmonic scale in other pieces, just gently hinted at. And the reason why we know it's there is because we hear the flat 2 and we also hear the major third coming in. And then something of a variation on the 1 flat 7 flat 6, which yes, we heard in motif 1C, the flat 6 5, but here with the flat 7, I would bring us back to Caves 1 and really think about the 1 flat 7 flat 6 5, and that this motif was now developed here and acting a little bit more rockin' and rollin' here in Alien Ruins. Again, please feel free to ask any questions as we go through this OST. We'll listen to the Invincibility from Alien Ruins. The Invincibility 8. So I think what's interesting here is, yeah, and then we have fifths. Wrong color, but that's okay. So in Invincibility 8, we're essentially going between the tonic and the dominant, between 1 and 5. And over the tonic, it's going 1 flat 7. And then over the 5, same idea. Except we're going to think of this as scale degree 5 to 4, because that's what it is relative to the 1, but it's still the same idea. It's the 5 and 5, so 5 is the 1 of 5. So if 5 is 1, then 5 is also 1, and then 4 would actually be the flat 7 of 5. So that was interesting. That's the first time we've heard something like that in an Invincibility. That's Invincibility 8, and we have, looks like one more. We have one more Invincibility, which is going to be Invincibility 9. I'll put it here, and we're going to squeeze it in right over there. We're getting towards the end here. This page is starting to fill up. So we're going to listen to what is next, which is Bosc's Throne Room, the Showdown, and I think it only appropriate that we will continue here around in this red area. So we're going to do Throne Room. Throne Room here, and we're going to work our way on down. Let's get this thing rocking and rolling. Okay, we have a question from RoboStomp. Could there be any correlation between the tune's key and wanted mood? The majority of OST as well as Siphon Filter are in C minor and or D minor. Yeah, C minor, D minor. There's been quite a bit in G minor as well. You know, there's a lot of people out there who get really heavy into like color theory and mood theory and astrological signs and all sorts of things associated with different moods of different music. I think you would. I don't think I have a good answer for that because I am not a creative genius. Some people are creative geniuses, and they have a deeper emotional and intuitive understanding of the moods behind different keys than I. So my strength lies in being able to communicate what's happening in the music most of the time, I'd like to think, but not necessarily in going and being a creative genius myself and actually creating something that would be so in tune with emotions. As a person, I'm less emotional and I'm more fact-based as a person. So that's just kind of who I am. So I'm sorry I could not give you a little bit more into that other than to tell you to go check out some of the really cool stuff around color theory and key theory. And then people start doing that with like star signs and stuff. It gets wild how far people go into it. All right, cool. Let's check out Bosc Throne Room. Ah. Okay, so some really cool developments. All yours. Some really cool developments here in the throne room. We have flat 651, flat 6. Now, flat 651, we already had here in this motif 1C from the very beginning, but we've never had it presented starting on flat 6 and ending on flat 6. A lot of times here it's been starting and ending on 1s, and then we've been going to flat 6s and 5s. Next, we have yo do 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 dee da, which is like a version of Spaceport 3 motif here. So the Spaceport 3 is 1 2 flat 3 flat 6 5. Here it's 1 1 2 flat 3 1 1 flat 6 5. So adding in some ones, developing, adding in a couple notes in there. Then 1 2 flat 3 flat 7 1, which, my gosh, if we haven't had that already somewhere, Lord have mercy. By the way, it's just my second stream using the whiteboard. I'll get a better system in the future. We had a bunch of diminished sounds, which is exciting. We had the do 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 do. Sorry, do 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 do. Sorry, I sang that wrong 2 times in a row. Got it right the last time. We had that. Then we also had it starting on the flat 6. So that same idea of but starting, or I forget how it ended, but it was starting on the flat 6 there. Cool. So that's the throne room. Let's check out our last Invincibility one here. Okay, so in the final Invincibility theme, certainly longer than just a motif, we have essentially at a fundamental level 1, 2, flat 3, 4, flat 5, flat 6. But once we get to the 2, there's a little riff that happens starting on each one of the notes. So relative to each one of these notes. And then 2, 3, flat 3, 4, flat 5, flat 6. So that repeated idea of 1 flat 3, 1 flat 7, 1 relative to each one of these numbers. So when we start on 2, 2 becomes 1. Then we do flat 3 up from 2, and the flat 7 of 2, then the 1. When we get to flat 3 becomes 1, and then we do 1, flat 3, 1, flat 7, 1 relative to flat 3, and so on. Here we go with le fin. Enfin le fin.
Oh, mama! This has got to do something. What's this? Blasto to Space Command Central. Come in, Space Command Central. Blasto to Space Command Central. Come in, Space Command Central.
Blasto? Blasto, is that you? My God, Blasto, it is you!
It's me, all right, Commander, with a big mission accomplished. Uranus is littered with extra crispy bad guys. You might want to send somebody up there to hose the planet down. Either that or have a bake sale.
Good Lord, Blasto, we thought you were done for, man.
It got kind of close down there for a while, but nothing I couldn't handle, sir.
And that little green madman Bosc. Have we seen the last of him, Blasto?
Let's just say, Commander, that if we were in France, he'd be Le Toast.
Well, some interesting ideas in Le Fin with 1, 2, flat 3, 2, 1 showing up, going up to 1, 2, flat 3, 4, and then on upwards from there. Yeah, perhaps representing the demise of Bosc, or perhaps if there's a possibility that Bosc could, in fact, there's a loophole in the story for him to return. And here we are back at our main theme. Ariel Martinez says to clarify. Requested Emma J again because I saw a list. Yeah, we'll sort that out. Thank you, Ariel, for your support. We'll sort all that. Birdman202 says, I don't know who kept requesting this. I figured the only notable thing about Blasto was that Phil Hartman voiced the main character, and he rest in peace. Hope they're digging this reaction. Put this towards Paper Mario. You got it. Jetstorm, thank you for your generous super chat. Just says, as you may remember, was your Ace Combat 7 stream that lured me here. It's only natural I keep going by putting this towards Ace Combat 0. Looking forward to your thoughts on it. And Francisco Herrera says, hey Dan, do you like Final Fantasy? Do you like Disney? Yes, and yes. No? Too bad. Here's a recommendation for Kingdom Hearts. Ah. No, I do like that one. Alright, as always, love what you do. I've been sharing your music books with fam. Awesome. Great to hear from you, Francisco. Hope all is well with you. Let's let this play out. Alright, thank you all so much for joining me on the stream. To support this channel, get more fun, hopefully insightful streams like this, please go ahead and donate Streamlabs. If you're on Twitch, you will find it in my main profile. It says upvote. You click on that. That'll take you to Streamlabs. Please donate whatever you feel is appropriate and tell me what OST you would like for me to react to next, because I'll use your donation to upvote that OST on my to-do list. That's a fun game we play. If you're on YouTube, the link to upvote is in the video description. You'll see it says you can upvote the next OST by going on to Streamlabs. So please go ahead, check out Streamlabs, click on that link, donate to support the channel, and make sure you tell me what OST you'd like for me to react to. And if you don't want to figure that out, then just say, hey, here's to support the channel. Go get yourself some Chipotle or something. Cool. Thank you all so very much for watching. Thanks for joining me. Special thanks to Spectre First for making the playlist and for requesting this here OST. Take care. My name's Dan Spencer. You've been watching Music Theory for Gamers. Take care. God bless. And if I can only find there we go. Window. Good night, Cincinnati!